Hey, what's up, guys? I went to my knife store yesterday and I looked at buying a Benchmade Griptilian or a mini Griptilian. This is a knife, or well, they're two knives really, but they're knives I've been thinking about buying for quite some time now. And I thought yesterday was the day to finally pull the trigger and make the purchase. Especially since I have handled a Benchmade recently. This is the 943 Osborne, and it's a beautiful knife. I really like this. I've got a review out on it, so check that out if you want to know more about my feelings. But I was very impressed with this, especially the Axis lock. It's super fun to play with, really easy to operate, especially as like a new user with Benchmade. Sometimes I have trouble figuring out, just the balance or how to open a knife nicely, how to how to close it nicely, one-handed or whatever. But this sort of just felt very natural for me, and I really liked it. Completely ambidextrous, which is another thing that I like about it. So many knives are not. So anyways, I said to myself, okay, it's time to finally get a Benchmade. So I went to my knife store and I got them to take the mini grip and the grip out for me, and I was kind of playing with them in the store. I had to loosen up the pivot and stuff to get them to open and close nicely like this one does, but they were okay, I like them. I think it's cool that they come in, different handle variations and, well, colorations rather, and the blades come in different, there's the, I forget what they're called, like the drop point, and, I think there's a Tanto one and something else, but, and now they're making it in S30V as well, or maybe they've been doing that for quite some time, I'm not really sure, but my store started carrying it. But anyways, as I was handling it, I did like it, there's no question about that, but then came the issue of pricing. So the mini grip, with either the spider hole or the thumb stud in the 154 cm steel, costs $89 where I am. Same thing with the Griptilian, like the full size, it's the exact same price as the mini. So $89, okay, and what I would compare that to is sort of a Delica, honestly. I'm not like a steels expert or anything, but I don't think that steel is vastly superior to the VG10. The handle, it's the same thing. It's FRN, it's nothing special. And the handles of the Griptilians, they're really not the high point of the knife. Like, it's nice, but it's still plastic. Come on, like, that's what we're talking about here. So they have another variation. Actually, my store went kind of crazy lately. They have like so many Benchmades in the case. You walked in and it was a cornucopia of Benchmade knives in the case. All these different colors. Really, there's probably like 30 different colors or something like that of the grip and the mini grip. So pretty much anything you can imagine. They've got black blades, satin finish, whatever. So lots of variations. But anyways, the S30V edition costs $137. So obviously that was not what I was looking for yesterday. I was just going to buy the base model. And isn't it amazing that the base model of something costs basically $100 with tax, and the nicer model costs $150 with tax probably? Okay, so 100 and 150, that's sort of like the price points we're looking at. And I just want to compare that to sort of competitive products in the Spyderco lineup. So I would say that the mini grip basically corresponds to a Delica, which is about $60. So 60 versus 100. So it's literally, okay, 60% of the cost to buy a Spyderco. Mind you, Benchmade is made in America. That edition of Spyderco is made in Japan. So what? Okay, so then what about the Griptilian? I'm not really sure if you could necessarily make this comparison like a one-to-one thing, but I would say that more or less compares to an Endura. I may be off on that, like the blade probably is not as long or whatever, but okay, so an Endura is maybe $65, $70, and the full-size Griptilian, again, it's $100. So okay, yeah, that the ratio is changing a little bit. It's not quite as crazy as it was with the Delica. I've actually seen videos comparing the Griptilian to the Spyderco Manix. Some people say they can get this knife for $75. I bought it for around 100, truth be told, with taxes and stuff put onto it. But I would choose this knife over the Griptilian for sure. The handle material is much better, and in the case of what I was looking at, the blade material is better. It's the S30V. It's not FFG or anything. It's this like sort of hollow ground or saber ground, whatever you call it, but it's a nice knife with the G10, the S30V. It's just better materials, and it's going to be a tougher knife for sure. Like I don't think anybody could dispute that. So there's a lot of things you can get for $100 really. Like you can really open up your options. You know, for the price of the S30V Griptilian, you can get a paramilitary too, like Black Blade. You know, it's pretty much one of the most awesome knives I think most people could find. So I always come back to Spyderco. Like here's Sage Sage 1. You could get that, you know, with the carbon fiber, the beautiful pocket clip, the S30V again. So needless to say, I did not buy a Benchmade, and you know what? I think I'm pretty much done with that company. I was willing to give it a chance after handling the Osborne. It's a very nice knife, and maybe if I can find one in a trade somewhere, or you know, pick it up used or whatever for like a reduced rate, I would consider it. I think this knife is worth $100 plus for sure. It's just, you can feel it. It's really nice, good materials, S30V, aluminum handle, cool lock. You know, it's all good. But there's no way I'm going to pay $220 for this knife. Like, no way. There's no way I'm going to pay $100 for a knife with a plastic handle. I'm sorry to say this because I do think that the knives are cool. I think but I really think that Benchmade should be doing a much better job at sort of bringing people into into their product line at a cheaper price point. And I think Spyderco pretty much excels at that. You know, you've got things like bird knives for $20. You've got a Tenacious for $30, $40. An Endura for $50, $60, and then you can move up the ladder to, you know, something like the Native, and that's what I was going to compare the S30V Griptilian to. I kind of forgot about that, but the Native costs like $80 or so. You can probably find it cheaper in the States, but in Canada that's how much it costs. $80 with taxes, okay, maybe $90, but still it's cheaper than the Benchmade. For the plastic handle and the S30V, you're looking at $150 for the Benchmade, so it's literally half the cost. So I just find that the Benchmade prices are ridiculous, really. Like, it's probably something about, you know, the U.S. manufacturing, but I'm sorry to say this, but if it costs me double to buy something made in my country, I'll buy the import, okay? Like, it's not going to be vastly different in quality, and odds are it's probably going to be the same in quality. I don't want to bash people or, like, upset people or anything like that, but something about living in like the Western world in a first world country is you have all the opportunities in the world to get a great education, you know, to become the best that you can be. I know people, I have friends and stuff like that who have worked in sort of, you know, manufacturing sector or something like that. But I'm sorry to say this, and it's a harsh reality, but that sector is not safe in North America. No matter what Obama tells you or the politicians of the day, how they're trying to save jobs and keep these jobs in the USA and all this stuff. I'm sorry, but there's people out there who are willing to do labor cheaper than you guys are. So those jobs eventually are going to go overseas. The manufacturers want to make a profit. They don't really care if you get paid $30 an hour to do the same work that somebody else would get paid $10 an hour to do in another country. And I don't think this is something we should be upset about. We should just realize that this is, I want to say, an opportunity, but that's kind of sugarcoating it. You know, people don't like change. They don't like to hear that jobs are never coming back. They like to hear that, oh, we're going to bring these jobs back to America and blah blah blah. Yeah, well, I don't know about that. You know, I don't think it's going to happen, truth be told. I think that the future of countries like Canada, well, Canada is different because we're more of a resources economy, but jobs that used to be manufacturing jobs, those need to become like R&D jobs or high-tech jobs or something like that, where you're developing a product, but you're using all the advantages of your country. You're getting the best education. You're being innovative because you don't have to worry about things like where you're going to eat, who's blowing up, you know, this building or that building next to your house or whatever. We have very safe and stable countries. We have all the opportunities in the world to be the best that we can be. And I know that that's easier said than done, but the best that we can be is not just doing the same thing that our parents did and working in a factory or something like that. Okay, like those jobs are few and far between, and look what's happening now. Like I'm sure Benchmade sells a lot of knives, but I guarantee you Spyderco sells a hell of a lot more than Benchmade. And I could be wrong on that, but I've bought like 5 or 6 Spydercos and I've never bought a single Benchmade. And the person I borrowed this knife from, he's got like 5 or 6 Spydercos and 1 Benchmade. you know, and I'm sure that that's probably a common trend out there. I see a lot more videos on Spyderco for sure. So it's not a Benchmade versus Spyderco thing, although I have seen a video based on that before and it was actually really good. But, you know, I'm sticking to Spyderco. If I want to get a new knife, what do they have to offer me? You know, I think I pretty much maxed out that lineup. I have a lot of good stuff from them, so I don't really need anything right now. And that was the other thing too, is I just didn't really need a new knife. I was kind of willing to give something a chance, but it just didn't do it for me. So Benchmade, I don't know what their deal is, but I'm probably not going to be buying any knives from them anytime soon. Thanks for watching.